the air, Konn, because I'm that kind of trained ass professional.
Sure.
Right. Watch us. So basically, I'm saying Konn Lavery and I are talking now. Watch us, and I'm just gonna put the Twitch thing. How's that for ad copy? Is that good ad copy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, it's good. I'm good
To
with
the point.
That's a bang, yeah, and then I'm just gonna put that on Twitter, and then that is good. And yes, folks, I am doing this literally on the air as we're going here because I am that kind of madman, right? And yes, and Konn knows who my big guest is going to be on September 15th. He actually knows it. Nobody else does actually right now, which is kind of sweet. So there you go, buddy. Right?
Secret.
Yeah. But it's a big name, right? It's a pretty big name. So,
it's really exciting.
Yeah. So Slurpee, because that's what we do here on Just Joshing, ladies and gentlemen. But man, no, yeah, I didn't. I had no interest in doing a When Words Collide online. Like I haven't. That last year I didn't do it because it just didn't feel right, and this year was like, guys, it's just like I get why you didn't do it. Still, kind of, not really. I mean, at this point, like they probably could have done this year if they had wanted.
Probably, yeah, because like, well, I did Calgary HorrorCon back in June. They managed to pull it together, but I can see why they're being on the cautious side. And yeah, personally, I'm just over the Zoom stuff. I was like, nah. I'm good.
No, well, so there is one Zoom only con I still do, but it was always designed to be that kind of convention. That's not When Words Collide. It's just not. Like I said, I just hope it's not like there's no like it's just people can come. Not there's no strings attached. There's no bullshit. It's just hi, let's all go. Who cares? Let's all have a good time. Right?
Yeah.
Because if like that, I mean, the only way I don't attend next year is or even stop by just to have a drink with people because because the other thing too that I think this is the other aspect of it. They probably still got like a 75% like waiting list or something
because
like
they're
that.
honoring tickets, aren't they still?
Yeah. So next year, I mean, so next year what might happen is I show up at the bar. Right.
Yeah.
And that might be all I do. Right. I don't know, like this is weird for me too, because I am back in Calgary, right? But I haven't really seen it. I haven't seen anybody. And I get the feeling this time around, I'm kind of going my own way. I don't know, maybe I just really feel that, like I don't know, like it feels like this time for me it's about building what I'm doing, and then next year who the fuck knows if I'm still in Calgary like this time next year, right? It's just like that's kind of how I feel. I could be wrong. Like I got some cool opportunities, and at least one of them would keep me here a year. One of them would. Wow. One of them would. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like I told Konn, like this month's been slow on the freelancing front, but next month, like this weekend, I find out what my long-term future with one of my potential freelance gigs is. I don't know if you've been watching the videos I've been doing on the social feeds.
A little bit. Like I've been spotty with my social lately, but I've got little blips.
Yeah. That led to a job interview with another podcast next month. So I might be doing me a producer role there. So it's open doors. It's just this month has sucked. Right. Right. This month has sucked. But next month, who knows? Right. And that's like, so I'm in a weird spot. Like, do I go get a part-time, like I don't need a full-time gig. Like, do I get a part-time gig like temporarily, but will it last like 2 weeks and then go? Or do I
rough it out if you can.
Yeah, no, that's kind of where I'm at. Like I'm in that weird spot. I probably should get a job, but I'm also at that point where it's like I'm so close, it might just work. It might just magically work out. I don't know. Right, so I'm in a weird space right this minute. I won't know until next week. Right?
Yeah, and people are still they're very. I found like especially August, people are really difficult to get a hold of. Be like freelancing too. It's like everyone's on summer vacation. They're not as serious about their work, and then as soon as school hits for everyone, all the parents are back to work, and then that's when they actually have real work because they're focused again.
Yeah, no, that's just it, right? I'm just like, so like I'm in a weird spot this month. I made something last month that's kind of pulled me through this month. But yeah, like I could, one gig would be really nice right now, right? So but that's kind of where I'm at. It's like a gig would be great because that would make that a lot easier. But I don't, like I said, that like, but again, that's the up, that's the down of being a freelancer, right?
Oh yeah, it's a constant yo-yo. It's never it's never smooth sailing.
Well, I never expected it to be smooth sailing. I'm either going to have too much work or not enough. That's what I've learned about this. I either have too much work, or not enough. And it's like, fuck, can you just give me like a nice even kill, right? But
yeah, and it has its pros and cons. Like it's I think it gets glamorized as being like this. You're your own boss. You do your own rules, and it's true. But sometimes you still have to pay the bills. And it's sometimes a bit of work. Like those times where you're working 12 to 14 hours a day trying to crush something down. Where if you have like a stable job, it's easier to be a little more consistent with pay and the type of work versus this. But you also get the freedom. I get afternoon naps. It's great.
Yeah, like I had an afternoon nap. It was glorious, folks. It really, really was, right? But I mean, naps rule. I mean, that's the other thing. When you get to, fuck, I'm 40, Con. I can't believe I'm fucking 40. But when you get to 40, naps do feel sweet. I mean, that is just a definite, true thing. And like I said, this month has been an up and down month. It's like I said, I'm in Calgary. I haven't really seen anybody. I don't know how many people I'm going to see while I'm here. And I don't say that in like, I hate to see anybody. I'd love to see people, but I also realize like that it just so far it hasn't seemed, there hasn't been too many old friends I've connected with. So just like it just hasn't seemed that way for whatever reason. So it's like, okay, so I gotta do something else, and guess I have. So that's been kind of my thing. But you've just been, I think at this point you kind of got, you've been doing this a lot longer than I am. By the way, I don't know, when I wrote the episode description, I called you the paragon of virtue of freelancing. I just figured you might have gotten a kick out of
that. Nice, I like it.
Yeah, because you've been doing it, like you've done it longer than I have. Like if anyone really understands the freelance mindset, it would be you, because you've been doing it for
8 years now.
Yeah,
up to 8. Yeah, it's a long time.
I don't think you could go back to work for somebody anymore.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Think I can't, like I'm on your, this is your, I mean, I'm going into my 3rd year.
Nice.
I'm going to my 3rd year, right? And it's like, no, I don't think I could go back for like spot jobs here and there, like so something part-time, like what we were talking about earlier. I might be able to do that. Right. Right. And I'm pretty sure probably when you were starting too, there would be times you'd have to go back and grab another job here and there just to keep the lights on sometimes.
I had an interesting swing, or managed to pivot something real good, where my last real-time job, I managed to pitch to them working 4 days a week. So back in 2013, I think most of 2013, I was doing 4 days there and then had 3 days off to focus either on writing or the design work. And then in 2014 is when I made the jump. But man, I took a massive hit in pay, and I was doing stuff like going to Subway an hour before they closed because they give 50% off subs. So that would be
no, like that's I'm hey, listen, I don't judge. I
well, you get it. Yeah,
I totally get it. Yeah, because like I've said this, like this year I might end up like burger flipping at least a little bit of my time burger flipping, and it's just like, okay, I mean that's just where I'm at.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, just pay the bills for now until you get some more leads or things come through in the fall.
Yeah, and like I said, I got some interesting things, but we'll see if it magically works out or it magically doesn't. If it doesn't, I pivot into something else, right? That's how life goes. That's just in general how life works out. So, but and for me, I've been doing video stuff, advertising stuff that way. It's interesting to watch my social feeds, how they've gone up, especially LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram. My LinkedIn, I'm a little behind posting the video I'm working on today. I'm going to be doing that after we're done. I went from 50 impressions. I'm now like at 800 a week.
Oh, nice.
Which is, yeah, no, I've had, and one of my, like, the producing job I talked about.
Yeah.
That came from that.
Wow.
Like, they saw, yeah. So because what happens is they see, like, you can put out this work, and my advertising is for creative people, like putting profiles and doing stuff like that. Hey, Anita. Hey, this is Konn, Anita, Konn.
Hi, Anita. Nice to meet you.
So Anita, Konn is a world-class designer, very good writer, and also, but he's not as murdery as you. But he's cool. He's cool, right? But nice. Anita's great. Like, so I've been doing this, and I've been watching my social media feeds on Instagram, and originally TikTok hit, but the algorithm changed, so I got to figure out the algorithms on TikTok again. But my first video on that broke, like, it was with Joe, and that's almost at 1,400 views. So wow. I mean, yeah. So it just, yeah, man, it's going. It's just one of those situations where I got to figure out how the TikTok algorithms are working again. But like LinkedIn's, it's gone up. Instagram has gone up. Like, I'm nice. So like, there's definitely an impact with the video on the social platforms. And so it's interesting to watch this. So it's like, no, this stuff works. Now it's just like convincing people, go, hey, I can do this for you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Right.
And tricky part.
I learned a very valuable lesson. And this is, I think, one of the early things: never do a meeting for 2 hours unless money changes hands.
Yep. Yeah. That's true. You're just wasting your time, everyone's time. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I realized that. It's like that was a good life lesson. I've learned that. I'm never doing that
again. Yeah. I try to keep max an hour. Like, sometimes they'll bleed into an hour and a half, but usually that's for projects that are currently happening right now, and it's a part of the whole budget.
Well, yeah, and at that point, money is changing hands. Now it's the nuts and bolts of your project. That makes total sense to me. But until money changes hands.
No.
Yeah,
like, because you might just spend a bunch of time consulting and then never get compensated for it.
That's pretty much what happened. So it was just like it's pretty much what. Well, like I say, it was just one of those situations where I learned. I think we all go through that process. I learned. So, like, what I'm going to say is, again, I just realized, like, with the stuff that has tended to work out, it's like a half hour or less. Usually, they've usually made up their mind, right? Yeah. I think right by that point, and so I'll keep that in mind for the future. Like, that's pretty much it, right? So
yeah, that's what I've noticed too. Yeah, like, a lot of the time they'll just be set, and they're ready to go. Sometimes they need a little convincing, but as soon as those initial meetings start going beyond an hour, they're questioning you, and they're not completely convinced. And yeah, and more often than not, it's better off just to try and find work elsewhere.
Yeah, no, like I said, life lesson. I learned
it.
Learned it. Like, I learned it, right? But again, it's part of the process. Like, you've done this longer than me, so it's like I should be ringing you up. It's like, hey, come on, and you're like, oh, fuck. What do you want now?
Hey, any questions, let me know. I'm happy to share stuff, because I was lucky. I had a mentor. He was a good buddy of mine. Actually, he taught me karate when I was a kid, and he's a fantastic designer, and he kind of mentored me to get into freelance, and we still do work together. Because I'm glad he gave me real insight on what to be cautious of, and mostly on the business side of stuff, like how much to put away for taxes, and should you incorporate, should you just be a sole proprietor, and all that stuff. And super helpful, because there's not a lot of info out there for that stuff.
Yeah, no, so my dad's a small businessman, but he doesn't. One of the things I've learned is also there's these wonderful gray areas, and you learn what those are, and you figure out how to play those games, and you can do some very interesting shit to your government if you really, really want to.
Oh yeah,
yeah, right. You can make them owe you money, and it's hilarious when that happens, because they don't know what to do. But yeah, understanding what that game is, like, I'm probably. So, I mean, comparatively to last year, I've made way more money as a freelancer than what I did the year prior, and I'm hoping that trend continues, right? Like, first year I made probably about $3,000, which that's not great, right? It's not great, but it's definitely that's the start, right?
Yeah.
This year I have to do the math a little bit on this. I have averaged $1,000 a month at least. So I mean, it's a significant jump. It's not quite a living range, but it's definitely, but it's a significant jump. And if I can maintain what I've been doing, like next year, it will be like consistent living. And by the way, that's just me hustling, man. Most of them are more often than not, right? So I've had some steady gigs. I mean, I've gone through some interesting experiences. I think like the first time in my life I've ever been fired for doing too good of a job. Right?
Oh, wow. That's rare.
Yeah. I did a show for an immigration company. I built their show from the ground up. We had a Zoom budget, so we had no budget we're speaking of. Myself and my co-host built the show from the ground up. The channel went from getting a regular thing of like 200 views to our show got 14,000, 15, 16,000.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Then I got let go. Now it costs them more to do the show. And they still haven't broken the numbers I set. They've been able to maintain them. Which shrug?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Wow. Their loss. I mean, and that's probably just them not understanding the benefits of what you are offering. And they thought they knew what they wanted.
Well, it's also just I think in that particular case it was we built a cool toy and the boss wanted to play with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's what I think it really was more than anything else. And he paid for it. I mean, there's nothing I can really say about that. But
yeah. Wow. Yeah, I can't say I've ever had that happen. I've definitely been overqualified before things start, but not like let go.
I mean, that just goes part and parcel for the career. It's like, yeah, I got all this design work.
Yeah.
You build that Chinese menu. Fuck.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the time too, they're like, "Oh, do you know any anyone going to school like for interns?" And it's like, you want cheap work from students because they don't want to pay for like higher end stuff. And I mean, good for letting students do the work, but a lot of the time these people exploit it when they start saying they're looking for interns.
Yeah, but you don't want that the work for those people anyway in the long run anyway, because what tends to happen there is they get what they pay for. Like, I think the earliest lesson I learned as a freelancer was this: people respect you on your price point.
Yes.
They do. They do. That's what it comes. I realized this very, very early on.
That's good. I was slow.
Yeah, no, I realized this very early on. It's weird on one hand because you would think that someone doing good work for a reasonable price would be someone you would jump on.
You'd think.
But then you'd think that. But what ends up happening is someone will go to you, I can get all this work out of you because you're charging nothing. And you're like, what the fuck? But then, so my very first client taught me this lesson. I was like, why weren't you listening to anything I suggested? And I thought about it, and it was like, I ended up firing them. So I mean, you have to do that, right? Once you realize that because here's the other thing too, and I hate the word reputation. I hate it. It's a personal pet peeve, but if my client is going to sabotage my efforts, right, through inaction or an inability to listen, even if the project does end up going off without a hitch, somehow, some way, it's a recipe for disaster in the long run.
Yeah.
So you got to bail. You have to bail because if it doesn't work, it's on you. If it does work, like, and if I ever see them in person again, I'll tell them, it's like, you left money on the table. Like, you left a lot of money on the table last time. Heck, they're doing something similar right now. They're still leaving a lot of money on the table right now. And it's just like, shrug.
Yeah.
Right? Shrug. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because it's something I like again, I'm coming at this from an advertising perspective. It's like, I realize like your job, whenever you do any project, like you can't control how successful you're going to be at. You hope you've created inroads. You hope you've created things.
Yeah, you do your best work, and
yeah, you do your best work. But that's the objective.
Yeah.
You show up and do the absolute best work you can. That's your real job. Now, you can't always control the outcome. That comes to there's a lot of factors in that.
Yep.
But
politics, cash, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Like cash flow is huge. Politics can be huge. But I mean, okay, like that particular job is just like, it's like you're not doing the best you can. Ergo, you don't know how much you're leaving on the table because you're not.
Yeah.
So do I stick around and get nothing, or do I bail and try to find something more lucrative? And I chose to bail, right? And that's
nice
because well, that's what you have to do, right? You have to realize that your job, no matter what it like, whether it's a book, whether it's your own creative endeavors, whether it's a client work, you're supposed to do the very best job you possibly can. You're supposed to show up and do your job. It's that. It sounds fucking simple. It's not, but that's right.
No,
but that is that. But the crux of the job, that's the crux.
Yeah,
that's your job.
And if that's what.
That's what you're paid for. So you don't want the reason the job, if say it doesn't work out, you don't want it to be the reason to be you.
No, and that because that hits hard, especially freelancing, because you're not getting paid or compensated at all when they give you the boot and you're just kind of left high and dry.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like that's just the way it goes, right? So you have to. That's your job. Your job is to present the best possible product you can with the tools you're given and the information provided. Right.
And if you're freelancing, you should be into what you're doing, running your own show. And if you're not, that's a much bigger issue on a deeper level that the person needs to figure out.
Then if it's you personally, if you're the reason why this stuff isn't happening, and it's you, that's why I don't do audiobooks very much anymore. Because I definitely have the big mouth. I think you and I can agree on that part. It's a lot of work.
It is a ton of work.
It's a lot of work. I don't mind doing the glamorous parts, not so glamorous parts, but they're just after I put like 60 hours into the book I did. Mm-hmm. And when I figured out what I was paid by the hour on that, it's like, it's just not worth it for me to do it. No. And I don't love it. So that's why I don't do it. So like now, again, I'm not above doing voice acting. If someone wants to pay me an absurd amount of money to do it, I'm in. Yeah. Oh, definitely. No, Anita, absolutely. They definitely do. But again, the big challenge like I have as a freelancer is how finding people willing to that recognize that, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? No, they really do. Like anyone that wants to pay like I want to work with Marnie Young somewhere down the road because she's an amazing narrator, but I don't at this moment in time. My choke points with the fact I don't have the funds to do it, and I'm not right. And that again, me not being ready, no one holds that against me, right? No one holds that against me. Me being ready but unwilling, that people would hold against me in a heartbeat, right?
Oh, of course, because if everything's lined up, then. Why wait?
Yeah, exactly. But people do like that's the one thing.
Lot.
I mean that's it. Like from a professional standpoint, like I think the biggest surprise I've learned doing even just doing this show is you can I can almost put bets on certain people just based upon like what I see here. Like I can literally make predictions in my head how well some people are going to do. Sometimes with these conversations, sometimes completely.
I could see that, because the way they talk or the way people talk tends to reflect their outcomes of what they do in their life. If they're talking down a lot more, they might not be as proactive on things. And there's many reasons why they might be talking negatively, but maybe it's just a period in their life or a larger situation. But you can learn a lot from someone by the way they speak.
If it's the first thing I hear, that's usually a warning sign, right? That's usually a warning sign for me, right? All right, I can like someone going to me, okay, I want to do this, but I have this obstacle in front of me. That is a very different answer than they just go straight into the obstacle in front of them.
Yeah, like I got these ideas, I just can't get them out of my head, and I hear that a lot with writing. It's like, you can just
you could
jot it down.
you really could. You really could, and it's not like I'm not the quickest guy creatively. Like I'm drawing my first book, Konn.
Oh, no way! Nice.
I'm insane. Fucking insane. So, but I'm the right person for this story. It's the only reason I'm drawing it because I don't want someone so good, right? So, it's funny because I showed a bunch of, so I did a little thing like what's in your office as a Facebook thing. So my book cover, my book cover, I just sent the first scanned image like over to someone that's going to actually do the finalizing book thing. What she doesn't know, she's like, I'll do this for free. In my head's like, no, you're not doing this for free.
Yeah,
that's okay. We'll figure. She doesn't know that I know this, and that's all there really is to it. It's like, this is what I think you're worth.
Yeah,
I'm probably underselling you, but that's still better than what a lot of people are going to give you right away. So here you go, enjoy.
Yeah.
Right?
Nice.
Well, yeah, no, man. This is the honest truth. Like with people, I have a lot of people that have a lot of faith in me, and I am eternally grateful for that. And people are giving me the benefit of the doubt right now because I am going through the ups and downs of being a freelancer.
Yeah.
But I'm also keeping this in mind too. Everybody is doing something for me. It's in the tabular. At some point, I'm gonna have to pay up, and that's just the way. And that's just the way it is. Like I'm not trying to duck this. I'm just like it. But again, it's where I'm at. But even though I'm not ready, I'm drawing my own shit. I'm working on my next novel. I am making things happen. And like I said, and if I do end up having to get a part-time job to make ends meet so I can pay off these things, I do it.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. Like, it's not like I don't look at it as, how do I put this? I don't look at it as an obstacle. I just look at it, these are my circumstances right now.
Certain tool you can use to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, that's it. And that's it. That's all it is. I'm not going to look at, well, okay, this stops me dead. No, it doesn't. It just means I just have to pivot into other things I may not want to do right now.
Yeah.
But
it's going this way a little bit. You just have to remember to pull it back and
bring exactly.
it. Yeah, because it's easy to go all the way gone.
Oh no, fuck that. No. So this is where I kind of knew I was going to make it. This is going to sound like the dumb thing. I've made more money ever since. I was doing some temporary jobs in Windsor to build money. I'll just get some temp work here and there, go in a few days a week, that kind of thing, or just do a few shifts here and there. I'm still doing everything else I'm doing. But what ended up happening was one of the jobs, I was there for 3 days. Like I said, I realize I'm saying being fired for is a common theme here, but but I honestly don't know why I was fired that last job. Like I really, it was one of those situations where I did everything I was asked. I showed up on time. I did all these things. I still was fired. Just that it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I just had that epiphany at that moment in time that whatever I'm supposed to do, these kinds of jobs were no longer in my vernacular. And just also, I mean, we talked about the fact that you probably have this thing too. When you look at someone who's an employer or a boss, you probably, like me, don't see them as a boss anymore.
Nope.
No. You see them as a person. And right?
And equal. We're on the same level.
Yeah, and that's it. And you're never not going. So that's all. That turned on somewhere in the course of the last year, and I realized it's never going to turn off with me ever. It just won't. So
no, the hierarchy's destroyed.
Yes, never coming back.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't. Now they're like now. Don't get me wrong. I can still work for somebody. I think.
Yeah.
I still but the circumstances now have to be very certain. Like that hierarchy can't be important to that boss, or it will not work.
Yeah.
I'm your boss. That's nice. I don't care. And that sounds really. I mean, that sounds really terrible, but it's the truth.
Yeah, it's not gonna work well to get hired, but I get it though, because like you have to look out for your own interest, and it's a tough thing to wrap your head around too, because a lot of people wanted work to maintain their job so they would make the company happy and their boss happy, but they forget about themselves along the way and their own interests, and they're getting paid probably less than they should and building someone else's empire when that's where all their sweat and tears are going into when they forget to invest in their own interests.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
it's totally what happens.
So it's bold. You have to get bold, and it can be scary because, like, I swear, like a little bit of Stockholm syndrome stuff happens with boss relationships sometimes when they're a boss and they're not a leader. Like, I've had some real good bosses that were treated everyone as equals, and they were one with everyone and really led more of a coach. But then, yeah, I've had some of your classic bosses that just like point fingers and tell you what to do and don't do this, don't do that, and those ones can be intimidating when you need the money.
I actually it's funny because no, like for me, because my first time I was really poor was in my Arizona days. And that's when I still had that
Yeah.
mentality, right? But I realized, like, and this is what happens. Sometimes you can do everything so it's supposedly the right way, and you still get tossed away when it's all
Hmm.
said and done. And when that happens to you, you realize, well, shit, why was I so timid? Right,
Yeah.
right, and that's the thing, right? So what happens now is, like, don't get me wrong, like I always have this attitude wherever I work. I'll do what I'm asked to do,
Yeah.
right? I'll do what I'm asked to do. Um, Try to tell me specifically how to do something, though, it
No,
doesn't work,
I don't like
right?
that either.
Yeah, that no, it's just like no, well, that's just it because we're used to. It's like I know what the job is. Leave me the fuck alone to do the job.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, but one of my very last freelance gig, my boss, my quote unquote boss, he was getting intimidated. So I was trying again, one of those things. I was asking for certain information before we started, and he never gave it to me. So I'm like, I was looking for a link basically to record this information that they wanted. They never gave it to me. So I'm like, and I asked for it like 3 times. It was like, okay, so in my head, I'm like, this is probably gonna fuck up somewhere along the way. So I had the foresight to write everything important down. Just I had that foresight, right? And
Yeah.
I did, I'm glad I did. Now here's the part that pissed me off because he made that mess. I said I'd clean it up over a period of a few days, right? So we got to like, so I'm doing it, and I'm doing it like I'm doing a handful. I'm doing that handful I want to do a day to slowly catch up on top of whatever comes up. Then on the day before, it's like, hey, they really need this stuff done. It's like I don't care. I'm the only reason you can even fix this to begin with. So don't.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna. I don't care.
Made yourself irreplaceable. That's a good place to be
Like,
in.
yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
just it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even that. I looked at him. It's like, dude, I don't need you to tell me to do my job. It was pretty much that's what I said to him. It's like, you don't need to tell me. I'm doing the job. Well, they're getting down my throat. So let them squawk. Who cares? Right? It's not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Let them squawk. As long as it's done, what do you give a shit about?
Yeah.
Right? Right. When I'm done and they're done, right? And the beautiful thing is, in that particular situation, the beautiful thing was, I was off the hook no matter what because I'm the one that caught the error to begin with. So even if I did screw up somehow, some way, the fact of the matter is I didn't make the mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You're cleaning it up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, to the best of my ability, and I knew that there was going to be some human error along there, but it's better than if they would have had nothing.
Yeah.
So it was like, but I'm dealing with this boss. I'm just like, you're being intimidated by these people to clean up your mess that you fucked up on.
Yeah.
Why are you bothering me? Right? And
He's
that's it.
probably nervous, probably scared of getting in trouble.
But but it's done. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's done. Like there comes a point too where you just gotta be like, okay, I did it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I did it. It's my fault. You can get credibility actually when you do that.
Oh,
Oh, you get huge credibility when you do that. It's like I fucked up.
yeah. I've noticed that quite a bit too. Versus trying to backpedal or
Yeah.
get defensive, you like own up to him. Like, okay, this was the mistake. Here's where it happened. I made it. I'm gonna now do this to fix it, and this is how it's gonna get resolved. And they're
So,
like, oh, good.
Well, actually, I'll give you a fun story. I like my last regular day job. I had occasionally they had a late policy. I broke the rules like a son of a bitch. I did, but I knew it was coming up. So what I did was I went to my boss, say, listen, I know I'm guilty as hell. Can you just give me the letter and save the lecture? Right?
All
And
right.
he's like, yeah, that was it. And that was pretty much what he said. All right. Right.
Nice.
It's like the right because I mean I owned it. Right.
Yeah.
I owned it. I know what happened. I apologized. Walked away. In fact, in fact, when I went to the union meeting, like you still gotta come into the meeting, but we'll make it super quick. Okay.
Yeah.
He goes, okay, you know why you're here. How do you plead? Guilty as hell. My union rep started laughing. Guilty as hell. Just gave me the letter, left. Right. So it's just like I'm saying, there was no talk, there was no lecture, none of that.
Yeah.
Because I owned it.
Yeah. It goes a long way to take responsibility for your actions.
Well, it saves time. Like no one
Yeah,
wants to
that
waste their
too.
fucking time. It just
No.
Like no one's perfect. The bosses aren't perfect. The
Nope.
people above you aren't perfect either. But what they want is, okay, can we fix it? Is the problem? Are you fixing the problem? Yes.
Yep.
Cool. Are you wasting my time bullshitting me about it? No.
Yeah.
I love you so much. Right?
That's a big one. Yeah, wasting people's time because we don't get a lot of it. So just get to the point and being transparent and honest goes a long way, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we're not gonna beat the political horse to death, but I mean that's one of the reasons why we have so many problems right now because it doesn't exist anywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a
It doesn't.
big thing. Yeah.
You know, it's the number one problem.
Yeah.
I don't care which party you believe in. I've said this on a couple shows. If they said the sky was blue, I'd look up, and I'd actually be worried.
Yeah.
If I agreed with, I'm worried now when I agree with them. It's like I'm worried. It's like, wait, what's the catch here? Where did I screw up? And that's actually my first impulse now.
Yeah, hey. Well, it's just so much stuff everywhere, and the tricky thing too is they're generally really sophisticated. Any world issue is a very sophisticated, complex thing that can't really be broken down into bite-sized tweets. But that's how everyone consumes stuff now. So it's a tough thing to inform the public intelligently while keeping it quick. And this was going on way before social media. Like news reports started getting shorter and more ads started showing up, and just been a progressively decline of helpful information.
Well, it's actually I speak to this from an advertising perspective. Blame ad copy.
Yeah, totally.
Ad copy ruin news because if you look at a news broadcast from a point of view of an advertisement, it follows a lot of the same formula beats as an advertisement these days.
Yeah.
So it divides people. It divides people. Advertising by its very nature, it divides and then it persuades.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and that's why you got the catchy headline that never is a complete sentence.
Exactly.
And then that pyramid, of information.
Yeah, so it's one of those, like, that's the thing, right? And it doesn't matter where you go to get it. So, like, if I want to watch a real time event now, I go to Twitter. I don't go to like any of the news sites. I just go watch the real time event.
Yep.
I'll watch it in real time. I'll find I like that. That's how I do it. I don't.
Same.
I know. Yeah, because it's the only way you're going to get a real accurate portrayal. It's because it's minute by minute. And yes, people have their own perspectives of it, absolutely. But when you have thousands of people taking pictures of relatively
and live streaming,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You suddenly have a much realer perspective than reading the Globe and Mail or the National Post or watching CBC.
And it's fascinating, when you do watch those live streams and like live feeds of stuff, and then the news comes out with all the reports the next day, and you can see the way all spectrums of news media, how they word it, whether it's left or right or somewhere in between. It's like, look what they focused on, huh? That's fascinating.
Or if there's such a giant disconnect from what you saw.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
like, there's such a giant disconnect.
And that's what a lot of people still read or watch.
Well, yeah. So it's like it's such a giant disconnect that you're just looking at that and you're going, but you don't need the news anymore. And that's I think that's the wonderful. That is the truly terrifying thing if you're in the news media. It's like you aren't important anymore, and not in the
No.
way that you are. Like if I want real news, I can watch it in real time. I can legitimately watch it in real time anywhere in the world, and it is an amazing tool that no one uses.
No, not a lot. Like,
No,
no, it's the past two big events this year, at least the one in Canada and then the Ukraine. Like, I was watching live, like both the trucker thing in Ontario. I was watching live. Yeah, like it's
the trucker is one of the biggest like separations. Like what you saw in real time versus what you read on the news. It is such a night and day difference.
And what other countries were reporting on? The States were saying like 200,000 trucks were coming to storm Canada's capital. And it's like, there weren't 200,000 trucks.
Well, okay, so here's the interesting thing. They actually showed the live stream of Manitoba going from Highway 1 from one way to the other. There might not have been 200,000. There's a lot of trucks.
Yeah.
A lot of trucks. But it was fascinating to watch the divide. Like the funny thing for me about that is, okay, so Ottawa, I had friends that were dead against it. I had friends that were actually protesting in it.
Oh,
so I have both,
I
have both perspectives
same.
there. Then I have okay, so Windsor where I was, I have friends in the police force, and there's a reason they did what they did in Windsor versus what they did in Ottawa. The Windsor people were smarter, my opinion. But there's a reason why they did it the way they did it, because a lot of the people that they were protesting were often their friends and family. And while they understood, so there are people who were, again, and depending on the cop, there are people that were for the protest and against the protest. But that's not what they were worried about. What they were worried about is if we get violent with these people we know now, they will never trust us again, and they will be right.
Yeah.
That's what and I was paying for that. I was absolutely paying for that because of the way they chose to do it. Right. Because they're the only ones that went that far, right? Even the most violent one which was out here, actually, ironically enough, the one with the most potential for violence. Right?
Oh yeah. I remember that. I forgot about that one. There's been so much stuff.
Yeah. But that one even ended peacefully. Like they all ended peacefully except for that one.
That's true.
But I understood the reason why, because I had friends in there. They were like, if we could do this too quickly, I wasn't a big fan of stopping the bridge either. But again, when you're having people protest, I'm generally protest conscious, and I know why a lot of these people were protesting, right? I know why a lot of people were protesting what was going on, so I understood that too. So, but again, the cops realized it's like if we cross a certain line,
it's over.
They'll never get that trust back. Even if we stop that, we will never get that trust back. And that's why almost every other one was nonviolent. This is also why Ottawa's now never not going to have protests in the city ever.
Yeah.
Because they did it in such a way that they have encouraged it forever.
Yeah.
And I know there are friends in Ottawa who might listen to that and go, that's not true. It's like, no, dude, that is true. If you ended it peacefully, you probably wouldn't have any protests right now.
Yeah, still have some, I think, going on.
Oh yeah. They've had 2 other protests this year so far. I mean, they haven't been as big, but even so, like it's not going away now. Like they've ensured it, right?
Yep.
So that's the thing, right? So, but again, that's the thing. If you watched it in real time on Twitter versus what you watched in the news, you see such a different reaction. And even Ukraine, same thing. What you see in real time, what you see on the news, not just any other world events too, like what's happening in Somalia right now with the United States, what's happening in China right now, right? In terms of, I can't remember the name of the group that's getting slaughtered right now, but you can literally watch these world events right now that aren't being covered anywhere else, or the farmer stuff in the Dutch, or like there's so many things going on right now that the media doesn't cover anymore.
No, because they're trying to, the media or the news specifically, they're in a real tough spot because, like you were saying earlier, they're having trouble finding their foot in this new modern live world, and they can't keep up, and that's why they kind of do these more catch like advertisement type stuff, like Fox News. They even brand themselves as more being like entertainment rather than full on news, because it's the real reporting is a tough thing to find these days.
On mainstream, real reporting, like Substack's a wonderful place to find reporting.
Yeah, you can actually find, yeah,
you can find a lot of interesting stuff on Substack. You can find out that's where, if you want to see journalism, like real cutting edge stuff, that's where you go. You don't find it. The last place you will find any real news is the newspaper. And that's been true for a very long time, but the internet has made it in such a way that it depends on how you use these tools. Right? Depending on how you use these tools. Because again, social media does have its very toxic, understandably toxic side too. Right.
But it's how much you use it, what you use it for. And like personally, I've never had a bad relation with social media, because if it wasn't for the writing, I probably would have just stopped back in 2014. Like, I'd made the Twitter account. I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I got bored until I took writing seriously. And then that's why I still use all this stuff.
So for me, my social media where I get the most benefits are ironically LinkedIn. LinkedIn has worked out for me quite well.
Nice.
Again, my stuff fits businesses very well, apparently.
Yes.
So businesses like what I do, and again, I can make puff pieces, but I also can make authentic human pieces, and that's huge right now for any level of business, right?
Yep.
So that's so, but LinkedIn's done well. I get clients. I still get clients on Facebook sometimes. Mostly though, it's LinkedIn, Twitter, and it's in this order. It's LinkedIn, Twitter. I get interviews on Facebook still a lot, right? And sometimes people that have forsworn social media, like I like DJ Butler. Like, he doesn't really go on. He doesn't go on Facebook very much. Occasionally tweets, but he doesn't go on Facebook very much anymore. I've been getting caught in his newspaper stream. And then the other thing too, right. And through these newsletters things, I've actually met some public relations people. That's why I'm interviewing metal bands more. I've kind of stumbled into these things. That if I were to look at it from probably a pure profit perspective, I make the least amount of money on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't even. I found with the design side of the business, it's always word of mouth, old school, whether it's phone number or email. And then with the writing, because I'm kind of spotty with my social media. I'll check my Twitter maybe every couple of days, or my Facebook, like that. And usually people will just go to my email anyways, because I didn't get back to them in a day on social media. So they just email me anyways. So yeah, it seems like the old fashioned ways are how it works on me, but like everyone's different in how they run business.
Like they all have their pros. Like some places are better suited for certain authors than other places. Like, and everybody finds, I think, what they naturally gravitate to you. My impression with you has always been you're a chill dude that's really skilled, so people come to you.
Pretty much, right? The way it works.
Yeah, right. You're a chill dude that's really skilled. I'm a chill dude with a big mouth, so the social media works for me.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the thing, right? So it's one of those things where, but they both work. It's just where you want to put the time in. Like, what I'm trying to do, honestly, is find an alternative to Facebook.
Yeah, that's tough. Like, most people are still on Facebook for whatever reason. Like, I've got a mix of clients and readers and friends and family, and it's like, and the messaging system, since Facebook or Meta has bought so many platforms, they've integrated the chat into everything now. It's a tough one to avoid.
Yeah, no, but it's the one I hate. It's the one I hate the most.
Yep, me too.
It's the one
I don't have it on the phone, so like I am always missing stuff. I have it on the computer.
I need it because of the podcast. If it wasn't for the podcast, I would not be on Facebook as much as I am. Right? And even then, I'm still trying to cut off a little bit, but a little bit more. Like, my goal, I think, for social media next year is 2 hours max.
Like a week or
a day?
A day? Nice.
Yeah. I would love to get to a week, but okay, so one of my gigs is going to be advertising a major project. I'm going to be asked deep in social media. That goes like, but for me personally, in terms of my own personal, yeah, Anita, everybody hates Facebook. Everybody does.
Yeah.
I used to love that program. Like it used to be like a cleaner MySpace when it started.
Yeah.
Now it's like, and this is how old we are, folks. Like back in our day when MySpace was actually a thing, right? But MySpace was messy. MySpace was it was very messy. Facebook was cleaner, and that was why people gravitated. It just felt a lot more streamlined, right? Whereas MySpace felt like this giant cartoon. That's how I gotta describe it.
Too much customizing. Like they shouldn't have let people change colors because a lot of people were making bad color choices on their pages, like the links. You could barely read anything.
It hurt so bad. And then on top of that, like the way bots and stuff could actually get into some of your accounts and alters things too. It was like, it was bad. Like Facebook was streamlined, but now Facebook's like, so I used the word crackers as in like Ritz crackers, and they hit me for a racial warning.
Yeah, their bots aren't the smartest.
No. So it's just like, yeah, I don't really want to be there anymore. Like I just don't. Right? It's just I like Instagram because Instagram by and large is fun. By and large.
Yeah.
Right. But I like Instagram. TikTok has it. I have a 50-50 thing there. I think there's some neat stuff on TikTok. There's a lot of shit on TikTok
There's
too.
a lot. Yeah, it's kind of like Twitter. There's little sects, and you just have to find the good ones.
Yeah, and I haven't explored TikTok as thoroughly as I need to yet to really understand it completely.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is actually old school Facebook to me. It's old school. It's like people still read stuff on there. People still do stuff on there.
Nice.
Right. Yeah. Like, but again, LinkedIn's not for everybody either. And I have to be honest, right? It's a hard platform. It's that's the one where I don't swear as much on. I'm actually more business like.
You have to.
Yeah. Don't swear as much. I swear a little bit because I can't fucking help myself.
If it's part of the vocabulary, whatever. Yeah.
Well, there's something satisfying about a curse. I don't like. There's just something like innately satisfying about a curse that it doesn't. Yeah. Oh, I love Discord. Discord is actually no. Discord. Okay, I don't. It's not really. It's more like It's not quite what Reddit is. Reddit's a bulletin board. It's not quite what Reddit is, but it's along that style. I love Discord.
Discord's fun. Yeah, I quite enjoy it.
Well, also like honestly, it's one of the reasons I'm on Twitch. Like one of the honest reasons, video gamers are like the best fans. They're easily the best fans. Yeah. So these are people I would love to get more familiar with, cultivating. There's some great communities on Twitch. There's some really, really fun ones, right? When there's some great people on this platform. Like it doesn't feel like anything else out there. And that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
But that's me, right? And also like I say, if I can figure this out, I proclaim this podcast in the name of Twitch. If I get there before anybody else gets there, right? It's like that's cool, right? But it's one of those situations where it's just a cool platform, and like those are my I guess if you're going to include all of social media, I would say Discord's my favorite. Although I'm not on there as much as I should be, then it's Twitch, right? Then it's probably Instagram, then Reddit, then Twitter, then LinkedIn. Oh, no, LinkedIn over Twitter. I enjoy LinkedIn a little bit more on Twitter now that I'm figuring it out. Yeah. And Facebook is literally dead fucking last.
Definitely last.
Yeah, it's like dead fucking last. If I could get rid of it, I would.
Yeah.
RP.
Right? I can't even think what would be my favorite because I'm kind of just dislike all of them. Maybe Instagram because of the visual component, and they made it really bloated recently, but it used to be really simple, where it's just picture. So you'd see pictures, and that was it.
The reels are good, right?
They added the reels. That's right.
Well, everybody sees the video is now more accessible. It's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to practice, but the people that can do it. So I've been doing the clips like on there, right? Just kind of like the clips are partly the length of time because they fit all the social media feeds, except for Facebook because fuck those guys, right?
Yeah.
And folks, my hatred is the censorship tool it has become. Like I said, I got warned for like I mentioned it like Ritz crackers, not the racial version of that. And that was the joke, and I got warned for that, and I'm like, fuck this system, like fuck this place. That's literally what I thought when I was like, fuck this place.
Yeah, they're in a weird spot. Like, they're going through the exact same thing in terms of being, are they a publisher or are they, I guess, a provider? And the actual internet providers went through the same thing many, many years ago when it came to pornography and illegal content on the internet. It's like you're technically the internet providers like TELUS or Shaw were the ones bringing internet to people's homes. So are they liable for illegal content? And ultimately they chose just to be the Broadway and the highway for everyone. And social media is playing a weird role where they're choosing to be publishers when they want to, and then being the information highway when they want to.
Well, so one of the things I watched was Alex Berenson's Twitter trial because he got pulled off of Twitter. I watched his Twitter trial because it was fascinating because the legal way he was going after them was interesting, and the door is still open to do that because Twitter shut him down. But the thing about that was there's two things what they did that were completely off. The first was they did it basically through White House. It wasn't done through their thing. It was done through a government thing, and it's very clear in their laws down there, right, that Constitution, the First Amendment trumps all. The government can't do anything about it. So if Twitter is acting by the government's say so, they can't. They're technically an arm of the government in that case, and they can't do that, right? Right. That's the first part. But the other thing too is they're based in California. And California, and the way companies actually legally work in the States is whatever state you're in, those are the laws you're subject to.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're in California. California has a history of using First Amendment to force companies to repeal. So that's why they settled with Berenson the way they did, because they were going to get their asses kicked thoroughly. But and while he won't discuss his terms of how he got in, the interesting thing about that one is the door is open for anyone to sue them the same way he did.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing that really works against Twitter, and this is the thing, yes, as a platform, you can have set rules and guidelines for what is and isn't your content.
Yep.
But if you're not fair across the board,
they're not.
Then they're not. Like there are some rabbit holes on Twitter, even Facebook. My God,
and YouTube, if you want to throw that into the social network.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Like they don't watch everything at all.
No, and who makes the money? They watch the dollars.
Yeah, they watch the dollars, and that's the thing, right? Is they will. That's what they care about. So there is so much shit, like a whole and regularly. It's right. It's just like, okay, yeah, you can't, and you threw him off, right?
They're the example, right? They're just making an example to show they can.
Yeah.
But it's a double-edged sword.
If you're letting other things, the fact that the Taliban actually has a Twitter account,
I know. After all this time, like they've had one forever. Like
they legit have a Twitter account, and it's just like,
why?
No, absolutely, no, Anita, absolutely, no. YouTube is a whore, and they know it. Right? It's like, right?
They make money.
They don't pretend any moral high ground. They are open whores. I know this.
Yeah.
And at least you can respect that honesty, at least. And I'm sure someone listening to this is like, what the hell? It's like, no, it's true. Like if you know you're dealing with a fucked up system, if the system is openly fucked up, it's more tolerable. It's actually it's a little bit more tolerable. It's still fucked up, but you know, it's more tolerable.
Oh, it is. It's I found Instagram's kind of close to that because of the vanity aspect of it, and like there's one good documentary I watched about there being like an excessive amount of users, more than there should be, and because everyone makes multiple accounts, and then there's bot accounts, and so you can buy followers and all that to basically build yourself up as an influencer, and then you get fashion brands or other brands onto it, and they pay the influencers, and in the end Instagram's making a bunch of money because there's ads and everyone's winning, so they just let everyone keep buying followers and engagement because they know they're making money, and they're pretty open about it. The numbers are all there, and they're like, yep, that's just how our platform works.
And you know what? That's fine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, again, if you're transparent about it, hey,
Yeah.
this is a pay to play game, and
Yeah.
we are honest about that. Okay. What are
Yeah.
you gonna
It's
do?
like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And you know what you're getting into, and you don't have to if you don't want to.
Exactly. That's it. Like that's pretty much what it comes down to. Whereas you look at, like I said, Facebook or Twitter, that's
They're
not.
always kind of going back and forth, and you don't really know, and then they're vague on what their rules are.
Yeah, that's again. That's why the trial is such. That's why they settled, because it's like, you don't have a standard. So right.
That's going to be interesting. Yeah, where that goes down the road.
Well, it's interesting because it's a new way of going after the First Amendment in the States, right? And so it's a workaround, right? Until precedents are set, right?
Yeah.
So in a state like California, where the First Amendment law is really, really heavily protected, right? It probably won't go well for a lot of those companies. But
No.
in a state where it's not quite as predominant, because again, once the precedent is set, that's what they have going forward, right?
Yeah.
And so it was interesting watching his trial, because his lawyer was taking them to town, right? It was taking them just based on their inconsistencies, right? And what Twitter actually agreed to for future trials is fascinating. So if someone wants to make a run at them, you can do it if you have the money. If you have the money, to do it. Well, no. Well, it's also the fact that they're going to throw lawyers at you for an X amount of time until they get there. That can be a 2-year process, right?
Yeah.
They have the money to burn. So that's the other. I mean, that is the downside of the American legal system. It is trial by money. I mean, combat. I mean, whatever the fuck it is. So you might be right, but they might just wear you down with lawyers, right?
Yes.
So you have to be able to withstand that gauntlet. But if you have the ability to do so, you can beat them. Right?
Yeah.
There is a way to beat them, and because that was proven with that trial. So
yeah.
So,
Huh. Yeah, I love it. We're seeing just the path being paved away with all this, because it's all uncharted territory with the web and what we've created, because everyone's been involved with building it, whether it's the actual coders, the companies, or just bringing data in for the companies. We built the web and as people, and we don't really know what it is yet.
Well, it's interesting because it's almost like it's almost like a physical digital matrix, right? The physical resources, wealth, politics, things of that nature, still is very important. I mean, the trucker strike is an example of the physical push, right? It has a lot of power when it wants to. What's happening right now in a lot of countries is that the wealth is being stripped away from a lot of people. Like, even this current economic crisis, for lack of a better term, is another wealth transfer. It's like that's what this is. So because it's a wealth transfer, but it's our second wealth transfer in 2 years. The other one was last year with Pfizer, and that was another big wealth transfer. So I'm sure some of our mutual friends in Ottawa or in Alberta are groaning when I say that. But
that's true. Oh, it's very obvious. Even back in 2020, when they were talking about making vaccines, like, man, someone's going to get a fat wallet.
And they did. They have currently made $85 billion since that, right? And when you sit there and think about the number of small businesses that have disappeared in the last couple of years,
a lot
of them, and that's where all that money went.
And homeless is a problem everywhere. It's not like regional or country based. It's multiple countries because, yeah, the wealth's been distributed differently, and no one has money.
Well, I in Calgary right now, like I'm literally 2 blocks from it's the most homeless people on the street I've ever seen in Calgary. In
Like one
just
of the
one
tent cities, kind
It's
of.
not quite. It's not quite tent city. Maybe tent village
Okay, yeah,
ish, right? No, Vancouver is tent city. Like
yeah,
it's tent. No,
yeah.
Vancouver is tent city. Holy crap!
They
It was
just had a
tent city.
big bust too, like in Gastown. Apparently, like last week, the cops went in and tore it all down, and then the humanitarians who work for the government, they're like, so where they're gonna go? They're just gonna move, and this is not how you solve it by just pushing them and playing hot potato.
Well, I mean, like Vancouver and San Francisco as a comparison and contrast is not something I think a lot of Canadians will honestly look at. Like say what you will about the United States, they're very open about what they do, right?
Yeah,
Right. We're not as open about our problems, and this is one of them.
yeah.
But it's not just Vancouver, Calgary,
Hmm.
Toronto, Montreal,
Edmonton had a
Winnipeg.
good one. Like they cleared it out, but the baseball field, which has been empty for years, all of 2020 and most of 2021, it was the entire baseball area was just taken up by tents, and then they eventually cleared it out. But now they're just kind of fragmented and
They'll
didn't
find
solve it.
no. Well, no. They want to hide it again because
Yep.
if everybody sees it, it's like the one like going into the meta. Why is this so important? Because digitally speaking, you can own a lot of space,
Yeah.
but personally, physically, what you have is nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, and that's an interesting. We are looking in a big issue there is ownership versus a
Mhm.
library system, right?
Yeah.
Like right. That's basically what we're dabbling with is that whole concept. Like Canada doesn't have property rights like the United States does. It's gonna be interesting to see how they do it down there.
Yeah.
But the idea is you convince people that they don't necessarily need to go for certain things anymore, as long as they have access to certain information and privileges. That's say what you will about like I think the Vax Pass is a terrible idea, but that it was a privilege system. I mean, when you
Yep.
get there, when you get right down to it, it was a privilege system, and it's a checkpoint system, and that is I think that is being dabbled with and tried. And that is one of the consequences of the quote unquote digital world is what does wealth look like going forward?
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing I've found really confused. Like the Vax Pass was a good point, and other little detail things like parking meters, for example. You need the city's app. You can't
Yeah.
drop in coins anymore. It's like not everyone has a smartphone. Not everyone has mobile data. Like if it's now a requirement, shouldn't the city kind of or the government help with some of that? And more things are even just registering certain things for the government are on their website, and it's like not everyone has the internet, so I guess they all have to go to the shared library, but that's not a solution.
Well, but at the same time, it's also inefficient because
Yeah,
I've seen government websites they blow chunks.
yeah, yeah.
They, they,
That
they genuinely blow chunks. They don't that they are inefficient pieces of shit. So
it,
yeah.
it's a slow ship, like versus like because there's many reasons why the system gets clogged, but yeah, they take forever. But now they're implementing stuff they don't fully comprehend because they're like, oh, well, just do it online. It's cheaper, but it's like, yeah, but that's not what you need to do for your people.
Yeah, I mean, like it's about access, right?
Yeah,
And if you create enough dividing lines, it's have and have not becomes much more pronounced,
yeah,
and that's the reality. So now now here's an interesting question then. So someone now has no access, how do they eat? How do they
yeah.
work?
Hmm.
Right? How do they work? How do they and on the flip side, like talking about freelancing in the future, that's the other thing too. It might cheapen. I mean, the other aspect of it is it could cheapen labor to some degree, all right? Because now you're not just hiring people for years and years; you're hiring them for jobs that once
Yeah.
they're
Oh, yeah. Totally. No. And I heard there was this fascinating article I read about. they talked to some people from the UK, but over the pandemic, these people managed to operate and do 2 full-time jobs, and because they're all at home, they could just work their meetings around and never have the 2 full-time jobs interact. So they doubled their income, and it brought up the interesting question to a lot of CEOs, being like, if remote work is more of a thing and people are doing these type of things, and more people want freedom instead of trying to have employees, you start hiring people on a skill-based or project-based system. So it essentially everyone becomes freelancers instead of having or hiring employees, where you keep them on salary when you might not need them for a few months.
Yeah, because or even, well, it depends on the company, obviously, but like for example, there are certain jobs in every company that need to be done year round, no matter
like
what.
admin stuff, it's constant.
Yeah. So you're never getting rid of those jobs. But okay, like me doing the immigration show, right? Right.
That was a gig,
It's a gig. It was a gig, and it wasn't a full-time gig, and it was one of those situations where I was in for a very specific job. That was it. And when they deemed I was no longer necessary, they got rid of me.
Yep.
Right. Even though they are paying way more money to do that very same show, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and you're seeing stuff like Fiverr, and there's the other one, these kind of Upworthy, these marketplaces that are kind of starting to build on that. And even my girlfriend's work mentions how they go to Fiverr all the time to find designers for PowerPoint presentations, and just like small tasks where they just outsource it instead of trying to waste their time learning it and their salaries being burned, essentially learning a skill for that when they can just outsource it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and which leads to an even interesting education concept too. Because here's the thing: you and I both know this. YouTube, you can learn anything. I wanted to be able to about YouTube. You can learn anything on YouTube.
I do like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Why would I go to school?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the time, you don't need it. Like, I mean, I had a great school, but that was over 12 years ago, and the stuff I've learned within that decade beyond is all through online. Like, whether it's a design trick or inspiration or actual coding, I'm like, I'll Google it, I'll YouTube it, see what they do.
Yeah. Video. Most of my video education has been YouTube. Almost all of it. Right. So it's just like, how do I do this effect? Oh, that's how I do this effect. Right.
Literally search it up.
No, literally. Right. I have an idea. How do I do it? Right.
Yep.
So we're in the age of microinformation. We're in the age. All right. So that might be more valuable than an education. And that's an interesting world, because again, so on the one hand, there are some interesting issues about what wealth is going to look like in the future. On the other hand, you can see that education, media, a lot of these things, because of the way technology is today and the web is today, aren't necessary anymore, at least in the current construct they're in.
Yeah.
Right. So this is going to be like as I figure out how to get on my feet and do different things, right? Like if I do decide to go, like, here's the thing. If I do decide to flip burgers for a little while, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save up to take a bartending course, because here's the thing. Because bartending, here's the cool thing about the bartending. It can be a part-time gig.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be in demand. Always going to be in demand.
Way better than burger flipping.
Yes, way better than burger flipping. Always in demand. It'd be fun. Like, I'd have fun. It wouldn't be. I'd have fun, and it wouldn't kill me. Right? It wouldn't. Because again, what I'm looking at in my 40s is, I'm not interested in killing myself anymore.
Yeah.
Again, nothing to prove that way. I've already accepted that I'm probably not retiring. Right?
Yeah.
I've already accepted that. So for me, then it comes down to 3 different things. Am I doing what I love? Am I with people I love? Am I getting paid well to do the stuff I want to do? And like, this is all I give a shit about. The rest of it does not matter to me anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So again, if you look at this from a micro scale point of view, we live in a micro scale, almost specialist kind of thing. Right. Yeah, totally. No, yeah. YouTube is how you learn Photoshop skills, right? Yeah, totally. And like, that's the thing. Like, you can learn anything on there. right? And that's my whole point. It's no longer, information is there. It's just, and it's free. By and large, it's free. It's the question of, do you want to take the time to learn? And if the answer is yes, there isn't much you can't
stopping
learn.
you.
Yeah.
And that's where I always found it's so fascinating, because you have all of human knowledge, pretty much most of it anyways, because even ancient stuff's being scanned and archived, is you have all of human knowledge available at your fingertips, and you can learn anything you want. It really shows if people are interested in what they're doing. Yeah, and because it puts the onus on you, the individual.
Yeah, that's it. Like there's nothing. But again, now, but if I look at this, like, do I take a course now? Like, do I honestly?
Yeah.
Right? And I don't say, I don't say that like to knock anyone going to an educational facility, because they are useful and they have uses still.
Yeah,
but as currently constructed, that system's obsolete too.
For straight up learning, the thing that I'm seeing smart people that I know that are going to school, they're not going for the learning, they're just going to network with the professors and everyone they meet in between, and the interning and all that, where it has nothing to do with the education anymore. You're just paying to meet people.
And I have a podcast where I meet people all the time. So right, so it's one of those. So why do I need to go? Right?
Yeah,
right.
Very true.
Right. Why do I need to go? That by the way, and I say this with all respect to any professors and teachers I have, your skills are actually more valuable than they ever were. It's all about how they're presented though today.
Yeah.
And it's a very different world than what it was even 10 years ago. Right? You don't need to actually go to school to teach. And as a teacher, you don't actually need a school environment to get clients to teach either.
Nope. No.
Right?
You run your own courses.
Well, I see that becoming more of a regular thing. If you're a teacher, I figured this out. If you can get okay, with everything that's gone on in the States, right? A teacher with a little bit of entrepreneurship, if homeschooling, if they can get 30 groups of parents, or even like 20, to pay them for a year, they don't I mean, that's a much simpler course load than the hundreds of kids in a public school system down there.
Yeah.
Right. That's easier, and you get to more focus on developing curriculum down there. You can do that now. Like I said, all the information's available for free.
Yep.
Right. You can challenge those kids. You can challenge kids younger. You can make them smarter, and they never actually have to set foot in the school. And the best part is you can actually make recess an hour, and everybody will love you.
Yeah, you'll actually be the cool teacher.
Yeah, you would be, right? It's like you go in, it's like, you do your morning, you do your whatever lessons of the day for the morning, you do a big recess, you come back, you do like a minor lesson in the afternoon, you call it a day, and you repeat, and you repeat. That's it, right? So, right, it's not a hard system, and that's the thing. Like, there's all these different systems micro little systems that can be made inside this construct we've created because of the digital world. And these are the benefits, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see, because there's this pressure. I say this, for centralization versus decentralization. There's a pressure for decentralization. I think it won't last. I think centralization is going to get knocked on its ass. And I think I think what's more likely to happen is all the marbles in the corner are going to scatter in a zillion different directions. Like Konn, I might be like calling you, hey, you want to come on my podcast? I want to talk about your cool little colony in Edmonton and what you guys are doing. It's like, yeah, cool. Yeah, we can do that, right? Yeah. It could happen. It could literally go that way. Like, it's such an interesting, because especially if the systems keep breaking down the way they're breaking down, people are going to look for all their alternatives. And when that starts actually becoming a much more regular deal, and it's already kind of starting, it's good. We're going to be in a very interesting world, I think, for the next 10 years.
I think so. I think we were born right at the right time. It seems like every century is when some big spike happens with humanity, and we just happen to be living through one right now, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Or better or worse, because it could go either way. But I'm an optimist, so I'm pretty excited.
I think we end up in a happy place. The only thing I'm really not sure of is the journey we take to get there. That's the real question. It could be painless. It
Yeah.
could be painful. All
Yeah.
right. It's really up to us, and recognizing what's really going on, and being honest with ourselves, and honestly how we treat ourselves at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of it'll be fun to just see where the next, like you said, 10 years go, whether it's like the Roaring Twenties or we end up.
I think it will be the Roaring 30s, not the Roaring
Yeah.
20s. I think so. This is what I think. Like the immediate next 2 years is going to be. I think we're gonna. I don't know if we're going to be in Great Depression 2.0, but I think we're going. I think we're going to be close. I'm just
Oh.
watching. So our current inflation rates are Canada and the United States in the 70s.
Oh.
That's where we're at right now. Like I'm not like there's no legit like the bullshit. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Now in the 80s, what they did was they did Reaganomics, which is they took all the interest rates and did it to zero, right? That's what got
Yeah.
us into our current situation. So we can't do that this time.
No.
So what I think is going to happen is we're going to pay for this, and for the next few years, on top of the pandemic, and some of the
That's another.
decisions.
Yeah.
That's
A
some
lot
of
of
the
money.
decisions. Yeah, that's a lot of money. And a lot of decisions we've made. So I think it's going to probably take the rest of the decade to kind of,
Yeah.
or to fully clean that up. I think by the middle of the decade it'll get better. But
Yeah.
I think by the middle it'll get better. But I don't think we'll be fully on the up and up probably until closer to 2029, 2030. Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That's when
that makes sense.
yeah, that's what I think. Now, depending on what happens during all that time, we're either going to go down and that's when I think we'll make that decision whether we go down the painful timeline or the not so painful timeline. But I do think no matter what, at least initially, the 30s are going to be awesome. I don't know how they
Yeah.
end. I don't know how they end, but
Yeah.
I think the 30s. I think the first 3-4 years of the 30s are going to be great, and
Nice.
then
See from there.
we'll see from there. That there's so much from that point on. It all comes again. I think the quicker we get to a decentralized, like this is my opinion, the quicker we get to decentralization, I think the better most of us are going to be, right? I think that'll be the healthiest road. Maybe people disagree with me. Maybe people do. Maybe people don't.
Yeah.
But I say it like that because at that point the systems will get simpler, right? Right. We'll have to learn how to get along with each other again, which
Yeah.
will have its. I'm sure we'll have its bumpy ups and downs as well.
Oh yeah.
But I think overall that would be the better course. If we try to centralize everything, I think it's the marbles in the corner strategy. Try to put all the marbles in the corner, everything's going to want to scatter, and you have to put
Yeah.
a lot of pressure to keep it that way. I don't think it can last. So I look at it kind of like I think what's going to happen is we're going to get to a smaller scattered systems throughout again. How we get there is, like I said, the magic question. I don't have an answer there, but I do think like at least initially, I think the 30s are going to be fantastic. I think the next 2 years are going to overall suck,
Yeah.
right? Overall suck.
Yeah.
But I think unfortunately that we're going to pay for it's harsh. We're going to pay for the pandemic, but we're also just paying for our mistakes for the last 30 years. It just
Yep.
that's where we're coming to. That's I think where we're going to. Um I don't see any way out because like you can't do what those done last time. I think
Oh
next
no.
thing no,
There's
you
no
can't.
quick fix for this. It's been a long time coming. And
Yeah. So
yeah.
but I do think like I think by the middle of the 20s it'll turn the corner. I don't know. I don't think we get fully out until closer to the end of the 20s. But I think it turns the corner around 2025, 2026 is when I think it fully turns the corner. And then we see what happens. Yeah, right. And hopefully at that point, we all are smart enough to the bullshit from above, and basically I've said, tell them all to go fuck their hat. That's my secret hope. That's right. I don't know if I don't know if that's the case. But I do know that what I do know is no matter what, we will get through this time. No matter what, things will change. And I think inevitably for the better. I'm like you. I am an optimist. I just think I can see a bumpy road. That's the only thing, right? I can see a bumpy road to get there. It could go. It also could go easy too. Like it also could just be, let's just all do it this way, and we all kind of consciously agree to it. I don't
think so. That's why things keep escalating in the tension. Like, definitely, like I think humans are a resilient creature, and we're gonna make our way through it. But yeah, I'm totally on the same boat. I don't know about time frames, but yeah, we've got a rough. I think we're not out of the rough patch.
Oh no, we're not. We're not. I think we haven't. I'm not sure we've fully gotten into the rough patch yet.
No.
That's the thing. I'm not sure. Right. I know where we're at. I don't know where we're going. Like again. Might be shorter, it might be longer, it might be right. Like there's a lot of ways it could go, but the one thing about the world is it constantly changes, and the right information, the right thing. What I secretly hope, I think going back to why I hate Facebook so much a little bit here. Here's the last thing, reason I hate it. I see people bitch about things that aren't really that important in the grand scheme of things. Like yeah, there's a lot of things, terrible things going on in the world, sure. But I think what the reason why I think if I nail down just one reason why I want to get off most of that, the virtue signaling. I hate that shit. I hate that shit. Right.
Yeah.
I hate it so much because because again, the world isn't like it just if you're gonna stand for something you believe in, more power to you. But I really just care how you treat everybody, and usually the people that virtual signal the loudest are the worst people at treating other people well, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's what's the old saying? Not always true, but like it's the more you talk about it, the bigger the hypocrite you are. Yeah, not always applicable to everything, but
I'm a virtual signal. Oh shit! Fuck. Okay. Right.
Yeah. No, people correcting their own mistakes. It's like you see people into the hustle culture too, and they might not actually want it. Like I don't know why some people get into that realm, but I think they just see everyone else doing it, and same thing, and it's like I don't know if you're actually working that hard. Yeah.
I try not to work that hard. Like I put out a lot of content, but the truth of the matter is I gotta count it down to a system. I figured it out. Yeah, right.
That when you can do that though, that's being innovative. Instead of just spending all your time on social media. The wrong way though.
Yeah, well, I had to go through the process though. Like that's the thing, right? The other reason I charge so much, ladies and gentlemen, for some of the shit I do is because, frankly, I've gone through the insanity. And if you don't want to, and the alternative is you pay me or you go through the insanity.
Yeah, you're the expert.
Yeah,
you have the experience.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. That's how I look at it. It's like you can do what I did. I wish you sincerely the best of luck.
Yeah, talk to me when you're done, and we can relook at it.
Well, I'm almost expecting like sometimes heavy drink. It's like, how did you do this so fast? Skill. I just looked at it from the point of view is I wanted to hammer it out quick, and I wanted it to be relatively good, but I don't necessarily need to be spectacular. All right,
Yeah.
Right. That's the other thing too. I like when you're doing work like art, like commercial work. What I find is it's about building a system. Because the way you build this, your system is going to save you time. That doesn't mean custom jobs still can't be done. In fact, that's when you charge more. It's like, hey, I have a system. This works. Oh, you don't want to use the system. You want me to build something brand new for you. Okay.
Yeah, I do something similar actually. Yeah, with a lot of my stuff system, but then the customs more money.
Well, that's it, right? Yeah, because you have a standard this will generally be good enough for what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Oh, but you want more of my time, effort, energy, and me heavily drinking as I'm looking at YouTube and going, "Fuck, why are you making me do this?" No, but that's it. Like the real secret. The smartest piece of advice I ever got from working was from a cartoon called DuckTales.
Oh yeah, DuckTales. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So my favorite episode of that is Scrooge telling the story of how he got his number one dime.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, a long time ago.
There you go. It's my favorite one because I think it is one of the best life advice things you'll ever get, because he talks about the fact that the very first shoes he shined was the guy's first dime, but he worked so hard on those shoes, like he nearly broke them, and all he got for it was a dime.
Yeah.
And it was the biggest lesson of his life, because he goes, and again, when I was younger, when I was a kid, I was dumb. As an adult, I get this. Work smarter, not harder.
Yep.
You can't be afraid to work hard.
Nope. But always try to work smart.
Yeah. Because I want a life. I want to go into parks and frolic, and I want to read books.
Yeah.
People like yourself. I actually, it's funny because I'm going through my storage locker right now. So the next stack I'm getting has actually got your book in it that I got from you.
Nice.
I haven't seen your books. Like it's one of those things, because I was away from Calgary for years. It's like, oh my God, I have like all these things I'm going to have to go. Now I'm going through my stuff because I'm going to be streamlining. I'm streamlining now, right? Because after years and years of having certain things, right? Having years and years of it, you make the decision, and it's like, you look at it and you go, do I really need this anymore? Right. And so I have with my paperback books and my comics, I'm like, I don't think I need all this anymore. Right. And I've come to that point. I mean, that might be the other thing I do. Instead of burger flipping, maybe I just sell comics for a little while and make that my little side hustle. Right. Sell some comics on eBay for a bit. I haven't decided if I'm going to do. I am going to do it. I just think what's going to happen with me is it's going to be, again, a process, and like all processes. All right, like I'm going to keep some book series, but I'm, for the most part, like, if I don't like you, if it's a mainstream book that I'd really, if it's not The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, if it's not if it's not Ray Bradbury, maybe there's some Bradbury. I think I at this point in my life, I'd get rid of some of the Bradbury stuff at least, right?
Yeah.
All right. But if it's not The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, if it's not certain books like I and friends I really, really like at this point, I don't know if I keep you. Right?
No.
Yeah.
Books are meant to be shared too, like books and CDs. Yeah. Like,
oh God, my CD collection. Jesus.
Yeah, so like I'm all for like buying something and then passing it along, whether I donate it. Like there's all sorts of little book drop offs that are all newspaper stands, and you just drop off the books in there, and it's great because like I'm done reading it and someone else will enjoy it.
You hope, and that's what you hope, right?
Like it.
Well, it's funny because, again, I'm like, what's interesting was I didn't realize how many of my indie author friends I've bought books for until I'm going through my storage stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in a really interesting debate. Some of them are personalized and stuff like that. So it's like,
that's tough. Yeah, I haven't gotten rid of those because they're all personalized.
Right, exactly. So I got those I got to go through, and then I got to go through the stuff I really still enjoy, right?
Yeah.
And not including my manga. Like I still got a bunch of manga. Like, so, like, I'm not getting rid of Fullmetal Alchemist. I'm just not. Right. I'm just not. Right. It's like, this is good shit. Why would I get rid of this? Right. And but that's just it. Like, as a collector, that's my collector warring with the pragmatic. You don't need this shit anymore, Josh.
Yeah, it's tough. It's if you're going to use it, keep it.
Yeah. No, there are some, again, there's some people I definitely am going to keep, right?
Yeah.
Like, and by the way, Anita, for example, like I said, very murdery, but she's very, very good. And but no, I found your book, so I'll probably at some point, you might even see it on BookBub / I've also been making this a little bit as a personal challenge this year, Every book I've read this year, I have put a review up on
Amazon.
Nice. Amazon and BookBub both. Like every book has a review because it's except for one series, which is my Japanese light novel series I've been reading. Like that one doesn't have any reviews, but besides that, so I've read more books this year. Although that considering that last year I hardly read any, that wasn't a big challenge. But this year I've read a lot more.
Nice.
But yeah, so I've been the other cool thing is some of my indie friends are getting some really really nice reviews as a result, because for the most part, with the exception of 2 books so far this year, they've all been indie. So
wow,
yeah,
that's good.
So Marissa Mayer's Renegades and Victoria Aveyard's Glass Sword are the only two I have read. So Marissa, I've been a fan of for a very long time. I think she's great. I think she does really cool stuff. Victoria, I haven't fully decided. Like, she does some great writing, but I'm not sure I like Mayer. Like the main character, I'm not sure I like her enough to right. So I'm going to read. I've read the first 2 books. I'm going to read book 3, and I'm going to book 3 is going to be I want to see how did she grow as a character in book 3? If she grows, okay.
Yeah.
If she's the same person she was at the end of book 2, I'm going to be like, I'm sorry, Victoria, but
yeah, time to move on.
Yeah, it's oh no, that's the other thing too. As I've gotten older, it's like if I don't really like the books, I don't.
I gotta get I'm trying to get better at it, where I'm pretty stubborn and I'll finish a book to the end, but I should really just start, like, if I'm not into it after 30%, I should probably put it down, because like there's millions of books out there and you're never going to read them all. So like, read the stuff that you like.
Exactly. No, that's what it comes down to. Like, or read the stuff you like, or stuff you can use. Like that. Those are the only two. Those are the only two. If I can use the information, I'll read it.
Yes.
If if I can use it, I'll read it. One of my favorite books, I'm gonna actually that's gonna be the one I grab next. It is an advertising book, but it's actually also one of those positive motivational books.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those life lesson things that this very famous advertiser did through his advertisements. Right. My very first rule, show up, comes from that book. Right. So
nice.
Because he tells the story about how they got a client by simply flying in and meeting the clients. Like, we showed up. That was all we needed to do, and they were ready for us. And sometimes all it takes, and sometimes that's all it takes. So
showing up is probably the biggest thing you can do. Yeah,
so that's where we're on. That's why we're on. I still feel like an idiot every time, because the rule everybody likes is my 10th rule. I have a lot of 10 rules. The 10th rule is, when all else fails, pick the path that is the most fun.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's like that should be your number 1 rule. It's like I can't.
No.
The first one's really good. Like, it's gonna have something like monumental like that. I didn't think it was so monumental, Konn. I didn't like. I still, even today, like I was supposed to meet someone for coffee today. I show up where we agreed to meet. They no showed. I heard nothing.
Wow.
Like, nothing back. Like, I heard from him in the morning, so that's why I went and got ready to go, because I heard from them that morning.
Right.
And then I got there, and it was like I played Hearthstone for an hour.
Wow.
I had, and that's wonderful, except I could have played Hearthstone at home.
Yeah. And you went out of your way. Well, I hope they're okay, and that's the only
thing, right? If something happens,
it's possible. That's my first thought all the time, but like, usually it's highly unlikely. It's usually they forgot or flaked, but hopefully.
Oh, I've hit I've hit that point now where, okay, I'm not gonna name the guests. They set up a date and time, and then they didn't even bother to tell me they canceled until I went to confirm on the day of.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
it's very infuriating. It's
Well, so because they're like, well, you didn't send me a confirmation. It's like, I did. I actually did. You got all my other emails. So why didn't you get this one?
Yeah.
Right. So now, so old me would have been really, really annoyed. I was annoyed at this. But my solution is this. If you do that to me, right, now I'm going to treat you the same exact way. So what happened was, go, well, I'm booked for August. If you want to come back, we'll figure out something in September. He goes, I don't know. I'm going to see. It's like, you can figure it out. Just give me a shout whenever you want.
Yeah.
I have no longer care about you. And I don't care who you are. That's right. I'm pretty sure he got the message. I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah.
But that's just it. Like, if you're going, like, shit happens, and I
Yep.
get that. Like, shit does happen, and I definitely am give people password, and I've certainly screwed up myself. That happens. But it's one of those situations where it's like, you set this up and you bailed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some of those in the past too, and then they just don't show, and you're like, but this was your time. You picked it.
This was you.
Yeah.
So fuck off. And that's
Yeah.
it. That was it. It's like, done. But yeah, and that's it. Like I said, I never thought show up would be such a big
Oh,
thing. But it
yeah.
is. It just is. And you're just like, wow. Right?
It says a lot about everything. It says everything, really.
Yeah. And again, it's the one you think, again, it's not actually, that's the thing. It's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the I think that's the thing that still gets me a little bit about it. It's actually easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. However you move, you get there. Whether it's you just you get there.
Yeah, it's like, that's it, right? I don't have a car. I've traveled across the country, and I will still go out of my way for people.
Yeah.
And I don't have a car. I don't know.
It's strange.
Yeah. Anyway,
I get it.
yeah, I get. Yeah, that's it. Like it's one of those things you learn. Like, again, and as I get older, it's just like, just don't waste my time. That's all I
No.
care is. Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. No, it totally, like, no, it happens, and you're like, why? Like because it's not even that they like things happen. Like, I totally understand that, right? And yeah, I totally, things happen. Just tell me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you can reschedule. It's easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go on a happy note here. So before we go, so you're really, no, like no, I have, like, releasing.
We covered a lot of grim stuff. I love it. That's what I'm all about, man. I love the grim.
I don't, I actually, what, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't actually believe that about you. It's not. See, I think, you remind me of a lot of people I know that I don't know how big into the metal scene you are, because I don't know if we've really talked heavily about that or not.
Oh,
But
some metal, not a ton.
not a ton. But you got the same thing. Like, you have this, like, super, like, you'll come off like super gruff. I like this grim shit, but but here's what I've found: most of the people that are into that really grim stuff are actually the sweetest people.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, right. They're actually the sweetest. They're actually the sweet ones. And you're like, and it's a bizarre thing. It's like that first impression. You're like, they seem kind of tough, and then you're like, no,
Nah, they're not. They're soft.
they're like giant kids. You just gotta, it's just that their toys are skulls. And again, I'm not entirely sure behind the logic behind that, but
I don't know.
well, actually, this is a funny place to go. I actually do this now with women I'm dating. And this is a fun thing. I go chocolate, jewelry, or skulls.
Hmm.
Right.
That's actually good. Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's surprising. I figured out why I think women like skulls. It's something, I think there's a very old, the old impressor check thing, like handling way back in the day, our ancestors probably when we were scalping each other. It's like, who's your enemy? That person. So you bring their head on a pike and probably impressed, scared, right. It's like, it's probably wired in our DNA this way. And honest to God, I can, and I see it sometimes. Like, no, that's there is a certain aspect of that still works, and it's just like, I don't fully understand it, but I now understand my ancestor when he went and brought the head of his enemies now to his family. And I now understand it a little bit more. It's like, why did he do it? I'm not sure he wanted to, but it was just what it's like. It's what the
It's a
family.
symbol, a message.
Yeah. Or symbol, a message, or I'm trying to impress a chick.
Yeah.
And I can oddly get that. I oddly get that. It's just like,
yeah. Hey, we haven't changed much. Like we got a lot of technology, but we're relatively the same creatures back from caveman days.
yeah, no, yeah, it's pretty much. It's like I understand. It's like, wait, it's like it's something I just grasp. It's like maybe that's why, like I said, I joke about Anita liking murder so much, right? Maybe there's a little bit of that in there too. It's just like, I don't know, just like right, it's just one of those. It's just one of those things where just like I realize that, and it's like I think I understand some part of the psyche. I actually I don't fully get it, but I get it. It's that weird like middle spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get it, but I don't. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right?
We're
Yeah.
wired together. That's why.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like I honestly think that for the most part, the people that come off the graphics usually have the softest like they just do what they do to protect themselves. So going back, it's like it's not that you don't like. It's not that you're a grim guy. I think you said it. You're a romantic at heart, but you're
Yeah.
also one of those. But you're one of those people that just looks at the world. It's like, well, this is how it is.
Yep.
I can't ignore what's going on in front of my eyes. I can't ignore that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. Realists in a way. I'd like to think so.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Like I don't know if I'm a realist. The older I get, the less I understand how the world works. Con.
Oh yeah. It's finding the same too. Like I barely even bother trying to guess anything anymore because I'm like, I don't know, man. There's too many moving parts.
Well, no. At this point, it's like this is what I want. When I get like 10 more years, a boat, fishing, drinking, and maybe ice cream. I think.
Nice.
See,
Nice.
you're like I'm with you.
Yeah. Simple. Yeah.
Keep it simple, right? I think that's the other thing about decentralization. That's why I think it ultimately wins. It's simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's simple. We don't need to jump through crazy hoops. But anyway,
No.
so you released a book not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a kind of a soft launch. It was a sequel, a short story collection, but it was a choose your own path short story collection. So there's an overarching narrative where you, the reader, are going through this story and having to experience other people's lives, which are the short stories, to solve the riddle and break the time loop. And if you break the time loop, you finish the book. But if not, the book keeps repeating itself. So you keep going through the book over and over until you break the riddle. And that's where a gamification component comes in. Yeah, so it kind of mashes up a bunch of stuff, but the actual short stories are a mix of horror, sci-fi, and fantasy as well. But yeah, it's kind of a mashup of all sorts of things.
So wow. I wish we had
Yeah,
a little bit. I wish we had a little bit more time. I'm going to ask this then before we get to the tie. Escape rooms. Are you a big fan of them?
never done one, but I get the concept. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I somehow feel you. I don't know. You seem like the type that would enjoy playing the game, but I also think you like building better
I
mousetraps.
think, yeah, I'd like to build them. Yeah, I actually like
Yeah,
them. Like games, way back in high school, I used to make games all the time, like the original Neverwinter Nights engine, Unreal Engine 1, a few other ones I played around with. I really like, actually, I was a big Flash guy too, so I'd program Flash games and really liked making them. So this was kind of a fun way to bring that back in, but still tell a cool story.
I love. Well, the thing about games, again, we don't have a ton of time because we've already gone nearly 2 hours. But the cool thing about games is games are all about interactivity, and that's something that a
Yes.
lot of stories, a lot like as much as we write a story, we cannot compete with a game in terms of interactivity. No matter
Yep.
what we do, we can't do it. That's what
Yeah,
choose your
wrong
own adventure.
format.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work, and
Yeah.
that's why I think video games has maintained a certain level of popularity, and I think that's why out of all the industries, video games have been the most centralized still,
Yeah.
because as a concept, people love to play games. And that's why. And it's that interactivity that makes games so rewarding.
Yeah, very much. And that's why it's bigger than Hollywood, like in terms of profits, and it's going to keep growing. And I think it's kind of a cool way of storytelling. One day, maybe I'll explore a little bit more, because I think there's a lot of potential in storytelling through video games, because it's a hybrid of all sorts of different art forms, visual, audio, and literary.
And visual, audio, literary, and also tactile.
Yeah, very much. Yeah,
it's very important to actually mention that part of it too, because a game like a Tales game, I'm a big fan of like the Tales games and the Persona games. It's not only the world, it's not only the world building, it's the tactile feeling of you have it interacting in that world that adds to that world experience.
Yeah.
And the reason why like a Persona game, like I'm a big is they have become more and more successful as time has gone on. It's because of how it's the entire experience of how those games feel, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, and the cool thing about games too is that level of storytelling and depth is varied. And sometimes you just want to do a platform climber, so you don't need a complex story there.
No.
But you can still tell like a fun little story in that's really, really neat and satisfying, even if the building blocks is like Double Dragon. Like, like Jimmy Lee kidnaps girlfriend, Billy Lee beats up entire gang to get her back. It's a simple story, but but it's satisfying because of everything you do playing that game, right? And that's the thing. Like you can reward a story through gameplay, which is something a novel can't do. But what a novel can do is make you feel all kinds of stuff. And it sounds like for you, I guess the question is, like, when you make a riddle, like essentially a book that's a giant riddle, someone solves it early, because that does happen sometimes. Right. Is the payoff to solving the riddle worth them to keep reading to see if they miss the pieces?
In this one, I think it works because the short stories work on their own. So some of them have been published in other forms, and some of them were just on the Patreon, and some of them are on the blog. So they all came, and they stand on their own, and that's why there's also a table of index at the beginning. Just so if you want to ignore that choose your adventure stuff, you can just read the shorts. But if someone rocks it and figures out the ending right away, great. The ending kind of breaks the fourth wall anyway, so it all kind of pans out.
Okay, I just figured I asked that question because
it's a great question.
It's one of those things about when you build a game, like especially a game with a mystery. You solve the mystery early.
The game's kind of over.
Yeah, that's right. Unless it's worth. Again, sometimes when you tell a great story, I know the ending.
Yeah.
But it's the journey, and the journey. If the journey is rewarding enough, I can get my happy ending when I get there, right? Like when I mentioned Aviard, I know how the story ends because it can only really end one way.
Yeah.
How we get there. That's the fun part. So what's it called? So what's your book's called?
Beyond the Macrocosm: Short Stories of Dread and Wonder.
Nice. And where can people find your stuff?
They can find it on all the distributors: Amazon, Kobo, Apple, Google, or you can Google me, Konn Lavery, or go to konnlavery.com. It's all on there, and they're
there we go.
Oh, that's the one.
That's the one.
It'll be right there under novels.
Yes, go check them out. And also, you can, if anyone wants to do any design work, because we did talk a little bit about your client work too, definitely go check Konn out. Konn is a very, very creative dude, and hopefully, maybe at some point when I'm rich and shameless, I'm one of the two, Konn already. I'm already one of the two, so I'm halfway there. Get to work with you someday. But for those that are watching and listening, this is the link to my advertising service. If you want videos about your projects or yourselves, definitely contact me. You can definitely take a look at that and see what I offer. Definitely worth doing that. And this has been an amazing week of podcasts. We got one more. Kara Timmons joins the show tomorrow to close the week out. But for everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you guys next time.